discharge pressure is a maximum suction pressure plus the maximum differential pressure that the pump is able to develop. The pressure at the top minus the pressure here. Now, if you take it from a tank, say at the bottom of the tank, so this pressure is 0. Pressure you get here is the differential pressure. If it is not 0, it's coming from another pump, so there is some pressure there, or it's from a tank at height, then this pressure minus this pressure, the inlet pressure minus outlet pressure, would be the discharge pressure or differential pressure. Maximum continuous stable flow, so lowest flow at which the pump can operate without exceeding the vibration limits. So after, if the flow is too low, there is cavitation and there is a surge. So there is a reverse of flow because there is a vacuum created at the head of the pump. Then magnesium is the symbol is Mg and manganese is Mn. Might come into exam because as an inspector you should know how to read a mill test report and among tensile test and other tests that is done. There is also chemical composition mentioned where the alloying elements, you should know what it means, like chromium Cr, vanadium B, and hence it might be a potential question. A mill test report, a document that certifies the material, a product is in conformance with the requirements. So for example, it is as per ASTM or ASME so and so. So MTR provides the detail of manufacture, lot number, heat number, and for traceability purpose. This is a sample one. It's built by this Nucor, and it's sold to this and then shipped also to the same place. And their detail here, address, and customer purchase order number, and their internal sales order. Then there is a part number, this is for traceability, and the grade, the size, it's an angle, say structure, piece of structures for angles, and then it says the chemical composition here. Here you can see the heat number, lot number, batch number, and load number, which load of the heat it was done, and the customer part number. If they want, they would. This is a customer unique identification. This is the mill manufacturer's identification. It says chemical composition and the yield strength, 2 samples taken, tensile elongation, and also it says it's killed steel produced to a fine grain structure according to SA36M. So this is a mill test report, the sample one. Non-ferrous materials, alloys that are not iron based, for example nickel based, anything above 30-35% of nickel called nickel, or maybe copper based, or so the majority of the constituent of the material is not iron, then it's called non-ferrous. Report like aluminium, for example. Reports filled out by the source inspector is a non-conformance report, or it can be done by supplier that says that there was a contradiction or contravention or of activity against the contractual agreement, such as purchase order, engineering design. So a non-conformity happened, a specified code, standard, or procedure. So the NCR explains what went wrong, proposes corrective action, repair, reject, downgrade, proposes preventive action to ensure it does not happen again, and should have a target completion date. So items should be quarantined until NCR is closed in order to prevent their inadvertent use by mistake. Coupon cannot be released unless NCR is closed successfully. As you can see, a typical NCR form, NCR number, client, at where it happened, function, area, process, according to what was the clause in the spec that it was contravened or was violated, description of non-conformity, and then it could be signed by inspector if it's issued by inspector, and then supplier also would sign it and term it as major, minor, or whatever category it is, or they might have an NCR trend analysis and say, okay, dimensional problem, documentation problem, or etc. And then there would be a corrective action agreed, and then the corrective action is done. And also, if it's a major non-conformity, then preventive action to do a root cause and see why it happened and what we could do that it doesn't happen again. And then once the evidence is, the corrective action is done, and then the inspector that's attached to the non-conformity, and the inspector sign it off, the client approves the non-conformity, and the inspector represents him, and then that's closed. ND map, a typical ND map of, say, a vessel here. You can see the empty magnetic particle here, UT is done. Here, this circumferential, this longitudinal weld is, say, radiography done, and there is a PT at the nozzle done. So the ND map shows a specific location where the ND conducted and what type of ND. Nominal pipe size is a standard for designating pipe sizes in inches and associated wall thickness. They call schedule. So you can have, say here, a 4-inch, a schedule 80. So that means MPS 4 schedule 80 or any schedule would have the outside diameter would be same where any MPS 4. But as the schedule increases, say from 5 to 10 to 20 to 30, 40, 80, then the inside diameter, the thickness increases. As a result, the outside diameter remains the same, and the inside diameter then reduces because the thickness increases at the higher schedule. So you identify a pipe by two numbers. One is the MPS. The size of the MPS is 4, and then the thickness, which schedule shows you the thickness. There is a table that you go there and they tell you, okay, for MPS 4 schedule 80, what's the thickness, what's the weight per meter, what's the inside dia should be, etc. And I can see it's not exactly, neither outside nor inside diameter is exactly 4 inch. 4 inch would be somewhere around here, almost in the middle of the pipe through the thickness, but it's not exactly there. So that's a nominal one. So nominal means ordered one. Hang pump, something is hanging by a cantilever shaft, and these are normally small pumps. As you can see, there is an overhang pump like this, and there is a shaft here and it's hang from there, so they put it like this, mostly used for utilities. Out of roundness, according to ASME 8 division 1 UG 80, the maximum out of roundness should be not be more than 1% on a pressurized part. So you take several readings of diameter, a different one, like different diameter take, and the difference between them, the highest difference would be the out of roundness here. So if it is not exactly circular, then you would have a difference in diameter if you take from different directions. Okay. Preferred operating region, a portion of window with the lowest vibration below elastic limit and the highest efficiency. So as you can see here, the flow and the best operating point is here. So this is a preferred region, and if this is a height, this is the flow or the head. So that's and then it wouldn't be exactly this is the best operating window, but anything within this region is the preferred, because they would be either the efficiency decreases or it touches the resonance, natural resonance or vibration point of the pump. So anything here would be where you get the best efficiency, sort of range of efficiency in terms of height and flow and horsepower used. Pressure casing, some of all pressure containing parts of the pump, such as nozzle, seal glands, seal chambers, and auxiliary connection, but excluding the mechanical seal. So anything that holds the pressure, except the seals, they call pressure part of pressure casing. And PRV is pressure relief valve, PRD is pressure relief device. It's more or less same thing, and pressure safety valve. Those are the abbreviations. PQR, procedure qualification record, is a supporting qualification for WPS that includes the actual values of essential and non-essential variables used at the time of building the coupon, as well as the required test reports, tension, Sharpie performed on the well. That was produced as per the preliminary WPS or PWPS. So you can see here, this is a template from ASME section 9 that to use as a PQR form. So the coupon's width, thickness, and width into thickness would be the area, the ultimate load, and then the ultimate load divided by area would be ultimate unit stress. And if there is a guided bend test, the number and the result pass fail. Guided bend test is used for to see the ductility and soundness of the well, so there should be practically no indication more than 1/8 inch. And a macro test when you do the ductility test or bend test. Toughness test, Sharpie impact test, the specimen number, at what test temperature, what was the joule, and etc. Pressure vessel, a container designed to withstand a specified amount of internal or external pressure. Generally should be above 15 psi. So anything over 6 inch dia and over 15 psi is termed as a pressure vessel. The definition includes heat exchanger, air coolers, columns, tower, amplifier, steam generators, and others. Pumps and valves, they are excluded from the ASME Section 8, although many elements of ASME Section 8 is adopted by API standards. Quality assurance, designing and establishing a system of quality control to ensure that the product meets the requirement. So quality assurance is a place to prevent non-conformity, whereas the quality control actually detects non-conformity. You can read a complete overview of what QA, QC means. QC, for example, means VT, RT, all the NDE inspection, they're actually done according to the quality assurance program that is designed to ensure that or to demonstrate that there is no non-conformity. Our QA and all the activities itself that is within the quality assurance program, they call QC. Quenching is rapid cooling of a heated metal in order to freeze the microstructure. So once you take off the oven, it goes into a barrel of oil or water, suddenly cooling it off, so you freeze actually the microstructure and it increases the hardness of the surface. Quality surveillance is what a source inspector should do, and it's a process of monitoring, observing the inspection activities, so to ensure that there is it's complying with procedure. And quality surveillance and source inspection means the same thing. Root mean square is a measure of surface finish on flanges or any material. RMS, for example, if fine finish is in the range of 20 to 40, machine finish is 80 to 100, grit blast surfaces range of 400 to 500. So as the RMS or root mean square reduces, the finish is better, as you can see here. Rust bloom, when you blast the component in preparation to apply the coating and then remove the grease, the mill scale, the oxidizing layer, so you actually, it's bare, so you make it vulnerable to atmospheric corrosion. You're destabilizing the material, but then you have to remove all this so that you have a good adhesion when you apply the coating. So the time between blasting and before applying the coating, in this time it can be, just a very short time, depending on the atmospheric heat or especially the humidity, like in a marine environment or in a, so the rust can develop very quickly. So there would be like a blue shape of rust, as you can see in the picture here. So the only way to, this is called rust bloom. So you have to remove it again before apply the coating, obviously. Solution annealing is a high temperature heat treatment process, allowing elements of the material are brought in a solid solution. The solid solution condition is maintained by rapidly cooling the material in order to hold these elements in solid solution. So supplier observation report, documents filled out by source inspector indicating concern or factual description of what was noticed during the course of product surveillance, not necessarily issues that may be considered defects or requiring NCR, but SOR or supplier observation report is intended to flag off the issues and problems that may lead to an NCR if not resolved. So that's sort of a pre-warning, pre-NCR sort of thing. Source inspection, process of providing quality surveillance, monitoring inspection activities of materials, largely consists of verifying that supplier vendor's own quality assurance process is functioning as it should in order to produce quality products that meet the contractual agreements. Source inspector, individual performing the actual source inspection activities at the supplier vendor facilities in accordance with the applicable inspection and test plan. A specification is a document that contains the requirements and acceptance criteria for the manufacturing and fabrication of specific types of equipment and components. And project specification normally is based on the standards and codes, but tailor-made to the project. Standby service, normally idle piece of equipment that is capable of immediate automatic or manual startup and continuous operation. This is to increase the reliability, like you got 3 pumps and put one in standby, that in case any pump run out, breakdown, so you don't have loss of power or production. Stage is one impeller and associated diffuser. So if you got a turbine, you got like here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages. So 5 sets of impellers. So at each stage, pressure, first at this first stage, when the air comes, it get pressurized. It pressurized once more and more, and then here it throws out. So this is a turbine, and the fluid or gas or whatever it is, it get pressurized again and again. It's normally gas here, and more and more until it's fully pressurized at this stage. Could be 8-10 stages. Thermocouple, they use 2 different material, and because of their thermal coefficient of expansion, depending on temperature, they use that property so that you can establish a circuit or cut a circuit. So that's called a thermocouple. To dissimilar metal to produce different voltages when their function is at different temperatures. And then this is also used for maintaining the temperatures, also used for measuring the temperature. Total indicator reading, you put a dial indicator and then it's touching the, say this shaft, and then when the shaft or round item is rotated one full circle, you can see if it's not exactly balanced. So you can see that it's fluctuating here, the dial gauge, and it gives you a straight reading. That's how much is how much out of balance it is, and then you can balance it and then check actually this. So this is called total indicator reading. That's the difference between maximum minimum readings that the dial indicator. Trip speed is a speed which the turbine is shut by an independent emergency over speed device. We need this for emergency shutdown because there is something is not being right and it might damage the pump. So there should be a sensor. Most of them expensive pumps or turbines, they have a trip speed where if temperature or pressure goes more than certain limit, or the pressure goes under certain limit, so it shuts it down in order to avoid any damage. And WPS is welding procedure specification. And then we have a welder performance qualification, WPQ. WPQ is for the welder, and WPS is for the weld itself. Intention of WPQ for welder performance is to prove the ability of welder to weld the joint as per approved WPS in a particular welding position or welding process, and WPQ demonstrates welder skill to produce a sound weld. Plan to check PDCA cycle. So any activity you do, you first plan it, then do whatever you plan, and then check what went wrong, what could be done better, how you could improve. So, and then revise your plan or act upon it, and then come up with a new plan or a revised plan, and then again do it. And this is a continuous process. PDCA, plan, do, check, act. For example, you plan like a source inspection management program, project-specific source inspection planning activities, ITPs. Then you do it, performance examination methods. You do the examination, you verify it, you tools, equipment, implement the ITP, vendor visit, NCR, inspection report. Then you check it, see that what could be done better, what mistakes could be avoided, and then act upon it. Means strengthen any weak areas such as report writing, personally on a personal inspection level, source inspection, safety and personal conduct, better familiarity with QC procedure codes, specification, better conducting prefabrication meeting, etc. Training is an authorized program developed to impart the skills and knowledge necessary for qualification. Welding performance qualification. The intention of welder performance qualification is to prove the ability of welder to weld a joint as per approved WPS in a particular welding position welding process. And there is a format for welder performance qualification by ASME Section 8, QW301, and it says what machine is used, what process is used, was it the pipe or tube, and the actual values is written here. Test coupon number, production, was it the production weld or the test coupon, and what processes are used, how many layers are used, passes, was it uphill, downhill, etc. Tolerance is engineering tolerance, refer to the limit or limits of specific dimensions, physical properties, or other measures of a. So if especially in dimensions, say plus minus C or 0 to plus say 0.1. So that range should be. Otherwise, there is a non-conformity when you do a dimensional check. Welding procedure specification designed by welding engineer to produce a joint with the required strength.